What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy ColeRocket21 back again with week 6 of our National Pokemon Draft League Season 19. A little behind, had some scheduling issues with my opponent over the weekend. So here we are with week 6, and the team currently sits at 3-2, but our differential is like 0 across the board. We've split all of our games 6-6, including all of the games that have happened within all the sets. My differential sits at a perfect 0. So the last 3 weeks here of the regular season, I'm still probably going to need to go, I would guess, 2-1 potentially to make playoffs. I might sneak in. We're doing an 18 playoff with 14 coaches, so I might sneak in if I go 1-2 to end the season. Definitely still got to pick up at least one more dub. So without too much further ado, we're going to jump into the matchup for this week. This week I'm playing Ginger, so we got the Ginger versus Ginger. He's got definitely an unconventional doubles team. Um, Unlike a lot of the opponents that you've seen that have, probably some version of, some VGC strategy you've seen at some point, including myself with my, Dragonite and Arcanine and Aurora Veil that I don't even know if I brought. He's got a Mungus. He's got lots of good pieces. Let's start there. Um, yeah, Amoongus is a VGC staple. Spore, we've seen my opponents bring Sleep Powder a few times to various success against my team. So Amoongus, once again, is just a pain. It also gets Rage Powder, so it can force me to attack into it, let whoever's sitting next to it set up potentially, or click big damage, which then takes you to your next Pokemon, Baxcalibur. Baxcalibur is a menace with Terra. Dragon Dance, Glaive Rush, loaded dice, Icicle Spear. The Ice type is not quite as bad in VGC because Stealth Rocks aren't common at all. Um, so that thing being a setup threat or just being choice banded and clicking buttons is pretty scary. Speaking of Stealth Rocks, even if I were to have those, uh, they have a Hatterene on their team. Classic Magic Bounce Pokemon. Um, can, send status moves back my way. Um, Kind of just be general nuisance. Dazzling Gleam is good stab move. It's got strong special defense. It gets a Nuzzle for 100% paralysis. Um, Arcanine is next, so we've got the battle of the good boys going on. Their Arcanine is 95 base speed as opposed to mine. Pure Fire type and Intimidate. This thing is sort of Incineroar light, I would say, in VGC. Still gets a lot of the same tools, Flare Blitz, that good bulk, Intimidate, like I talked about. However, it does not get like knockoff. It gets Will-O-Wisp. I think it gets Baton Pass if you were to bring that. Um, Extreme Speed for priority is, I suppose, akin to Incineroar's Fake Out. Um, it's pretty straightforward what it does, but it does it very well. Uh, the next one is Scizor. Scizor, again, kind of straightforward-ish. You've got your Technician boosted Steel and Bug moves, which is just a great typing, only weak to Fire. Usually you can carry like Fighting coverage, and then gets like Swords Dance. And I think I'll have to double check. I know Scizor, I think he's run coaching, but on something else and clicking it into Scizor a couple times this season. I believe it might be his girder that he's brought coaching on. So we can look out for Scizor in those pairings. Obviously, Bullet Punch into um, my kind of Ice Core is very scary. So you'll see that a little bit when I get to my team here. Then there is Lycanroc Dusk. Very fast. It's the fastest mon on his team. And also gets Accelerock, which is a priority rock type move. Stone Edge, Tough Claws, just to do extra damage. It gets Sucker Punch for more priority there. Crunch. Solid, just focus Sash lead to go in and click some buttons, try to do some damage. Obviously, we've seen this season Rock Slide. Fast Rock Slide is a menace all the way around. You can miss it on either target and it's a pain. You can flinch both targets and it's a pain. I think we've already seen kind of the whole spectrum, and I'm sure we're not done with rock slide hacks in this season. So fingers crossed on that one. Clawitzer, he's brought a couple times. It's definitely an interesting low point mon. At 59 speed, it's decent trick room mon into my team. I guess that's the last thing that I forgot to mention with Hatterene. Hatterene gets Trick Room, and he's got some solid Trick Room synergy here. Clawitzer, with its Mega Launcher ability, can fire off like Dragon Pulse and Flash Cannon, Aura Sphere, and Water Pulse with pretty strong attacks that are boosted by its ability. At 59 speed, it's a pretty solid Trick Room speed tier. I would not be shocked to see Trick Room come against me. Um, and it's not super bulky. It's pretty frail. Um, so we'll see if it comes. I don't really have much to say about Clawitzer besides that. Rotom Fan, it's another one. Very versatile in the sets it can run. If you want to run Scarf or Specs, you definitely can. Air balloons that you are triple resistant to those ground type moves, as it is a flying type with levitate. Um, no, but I mean you can click. It can run dual screens, volt switch, all your electric moves. Discharge if he wants to throw it next to a Terra Ground or his Trap Inch sitting next to it. Um, Obviously, Air Slash, flinch shenanigans are always annoying. Will-O-Wisp again, and then Nightshade is not a terrible move in VGC just for consistent damage if he's running some other set. Trapinch is a cool low point mon. It has Arena Trap, so if it comes, it will force whatever is in front of it to stay on the field, outside of, I believe, Ghost and Flying types. Nothing else can switch out. And Trapinch, in case you don't know, has the same attack stat as Flygon, so it's got a base 100 attack stat. Um, Sometimes you'll see like Terra Bug on it with First Impression, and like a choice band, or just like Earthquake to click buttons. So again, he's kind of got that low point discharge Earthquake synergy with Rotom Fan and Trapinch there. So we'll see if that comes. And then lastly is Girder. Girder I think is really good for its value. It gets both wide guard and coaching, and so with its bulk with Eviolite, those two moves plus Drain Punch, it gets knockoff, Mock Punch for priority. A couple good abilities with Guts, which obviously isn't as common with Eviolite, or what is its other ability? Iron Fist, I believe. I think it gets something. I can't remember if it gets Sheer Force or if that's only Conch Elder. Um, yeah, so uh, it should be an interesting one. Again, not totally sure what to um, expect. So obviously, you know, I think the top six might just come. I could potentially see. I think Scizor, Arcanine, Amoonguss backs are pretty guaranteed. I think Lycanroc Dusk probably comes, and then I could see Hatterene being the one that he maybe swaps around for something else. But I think his top six are pretty solid into me. Um, so we will show you what I am bringing here. So we start with Safety Goggles Dragonite. Inner Focus will block Intim from Arcanine. Safety Goggles will block Spore. Dragonite is kind of my versatile tool in this game. Tailwind Haze trying to keep Excalibur from getting out of control here. Terra Steel is just incredible into his team. With Safety Goggles, Terra Steel, Dragonite can kind of wall a lot of pretty much everything Amoonguss wants to do. Hatterene can't do a ton into it. Takes hits a lot better from Excalibur. And then, yeah, Tailwind and Haze for some utility here. And then Breaking Swipe. His team is pretty focused on its physical attacking, and so I think having a move that hits both, coming off pretty solid attack stat from Dragonite that will also lower his attack, is pretty good. And then Ironhead, Terra Steel. Ironhead just kind of hits his team really hard and does give me that flinch chance. I'm running max HP, max attack. My EV spreads are pretty simple. Dragonite sits in a speed tier that I didn't really think it needed any speed this week. It outspeeds everything in Tailwind, so that's kind of what we're looking at there. Arcanine goes crazy again offensively into his team. Clear Amulet, once again blocking Intimidate from Arcanine. You'll kind of sense a theme here. Terra Grass is, again, so I can't get put to sleep by Amoonguss. Flare Blitz, Rock Slide, Close Combat, hits his team really hard, protect just for scouting, and I'm running my own intimidate. Again, similar logic as the breaking swipe from Dragonite. Inteleon, I thought was pretty good here, just being fast. Snipe Shot, Ice Beam hits his whole team pretty hard outside of Max Caliber, so we're running Terra Blast, Terra Dragon. We're running Life Orb just for maximum damage, and then Protect, because Protect is good in VGC, and just for some potential shenanigans there. Mudsdale Terra Water, I thought looked really good defensively into his team. High horsepower, body press, heavy slam, protect. Goes pretty well into his team offensively. Um, Terra Water again to help with Bax Caliber if he's running like that Icicle Spear set like I sort of ran against myself a few weeks ago. This thing's gonna kind of wall it and become a monster if I can predict that right. Girafarig I'm bringing once again. Um, Psychic Thunderbolt, T-Wave Trick Room, a little different set than usual. I'm running it again, very bulky physical team, so I'm running with max physical bulk and HP. Psychic and Thunderbolt can kind of hit into the combination of most of his team pretty freely. I'm not bringing uh, Hyper Voice Psychic because it makes me really bad into Scizor. But I thought just having that second Sap Sipper was really nice, again, for Spore from Amoonguss. Terrifier here, pretty much for Scizor. Um, but this gives me some counter Trick Room play, as well as T-Wave is kind of nice, and Psychic is pretty good into his team. And then lastly, we have our Hisuian Sneasel, still looking to pick up a kill, but is one of my highest bring rate mons. Bringing kind of the tried and true again, inner focus, no intimidate, um, sash set with fake out close combat, gunk shot coaching for my top couple Pokemon, or even potentially a Mudsdale. And so that's our team. Um, so I know our opponent is waiting here. So I will go ahead and pick our team. If I can find it. There we go. Versus Ginger. We will go ahead and send that challenge. Hope everyone's having a great day. Okay, here we go. See, the Clawitzer did come. No Amoonguss. Wow, okay. That is, I put a lot of prep into that, so that's good to know. So he's got Girder, Bax, Scizor, Arc, Claw, Hat. Girder's Fight. Bax is Dragon. Scizor is Flying, which is interesting. Arcanine is Ground. Water on Clawitzer. And Hat is also Water. Also tell him GLHF. Okay, game one. I think I kind of want to lead Sneeze and Dragonite. I think they're pretty solid. And then in the back, I think I'm going to bring Hark and Intel. And if they bring Hard Trick Room into this team, I'm going to have to play around that. Okay. Yep, so there is that Hard Trick Room. I figured this might come out. There's a part of me, I'm pretty good into his team with just Terra Steel Dragonite here. If Girder's in the back, that would be the only thing maybe posing an issue. But I kind of just want to fake out into Clawitzer. And I think I'm just going to rip a Terra Ironhead turn 1 into Hatterene. Clawitzer flinches. Nice. Yeah, Dragonite just picks that KO up. That seemed like a pretty nice way to deal with Trick Room there. So we've got Sash on Sneasel. I think Dragonite here. Let's see. I mean, Arcanine Fire move into it seems pretty safe. Um, I think I might go just rip a. I might just go close combat on Sneasel into Clawitzer and hard switch Dragonite out into Arcanine. Okay, it lives. Aura Sphere comes out. Ooh, crit. And that does pick up the KO. And he gets a Will-O-Wisp off on Sneeze. Okay, that is a little annoying. However, um, I can just go Inteleon here. His Terra's down. So I think it is pretty safe for me to just close combat and then snipe shot into Arcanine. And I get a crit back. I, again, don't know that that totally mattered. If it did, apologies. And we are in a pretty good position here. Um, Baxcalibur comes out. Now this definitely is a little scary with these two out on the field. Um, and Sneasel burned. Okay, Dragon Claw comes out, and Intel actually lives. So that should be a pretty safe game one here. Okay, so Arcanine has Willow. Claw has Aura. Hat died immediately. And Bax has Declaw. Um, Mostly interesting to note that he's got Declaw over a Hat is not Covert Cloak. I guess well, no, Clawitzer's not Covert Cloak. He's got Declaw over Glaive Rush. Just kind of interesting to note there. Is there anything different I want to bring? I'm sure he brings something else into that lead. Um, so I might go Sneasel Arcanine here with I bet Scizor comes. I think Dragonite is just so good into their team. Um, and then if I did not have Inteleon, I would have been a little bit in trouble because of Arcanine. Um, there's a part of me that wants to bring Mudsdale, but I'm not as afraid knowing I think Intel is just pretty good. Okay. Similar leads. Um, I'm going to once again fake out the Clawitzer and just get a Rock Slide off. If he switches, that's fine. Um, but yeah, Clawitzer switches out. Pretty okay there. He's slow, Arcanine. And Scorching Sands comes out. So I think here he's got Clawitzer. I think I mean, if it's Scizor in the back, it's a little annoying. However, I think with the speed advantage here, really clicking Gunk Shot and I'm gonna click Protect here. Okay. And I miss Gunk Shot. So Psychic comes off into Sneeze. Um, what do we want to do here? I think I'm gonna click coaching on Sneasel here into the Arcanine slot, and then switch Arcanine out into Dragonite here. Okay, Heat Wave comes out, picks up that KO, and Psychic comes out and crits. So that did not work out. A lot of crits happening here. So then we go Arcanine, Intel. Again, I think we have to protect Arcanine here and Snipe Shot their Arcanine. Just get it out of the way. Yeah. Hat and Clawitzer, pretty much my only play here. I definitely Terra Grass. And then I just have to kind of prey on Rock Slide flinches a little bit here. I'm still thinking this is my best 4, and I will probably ring it again to game 3. Yeah, that picks me off either way. Why is... Oh, Clawits are outsped, so that's Scarf Claw. Okay, I mean, unfortunate crit there. But we're gonna ready up. And I still think it's the same. I think I go back to Sneasel Dragonite, but I think it's still Arcanine and Intel in the back. I've kind of needed Intel to take care of their Arcanine. Okay, he switches up. I'm going to fake out into Girder here. And then I think I Terra Steel and I just Breaking Swipe on a potential coaching. See if Bax wants to, protect. That's fine. Okay, Girder flinches. So that's good there. Bax's Terra Dragon. I think here with Sneasel, I feel pretty decent about just clicking coaching myself into Dragonite and breaking swiping both of them. Yeah, and if he's going to try to target down Dragonite, if that's the most he's doing, then I'm going to try to pick off Bax here with a CC, and I'm going to Tailwind with Dragonite. Okay. Hat comes out. Totally fine with that, and we get our Tailwind off there. We have not seen Protect from Hat yet. But I just close combat this Clawitzer, and I Iron Head. Yeah, that makes sense. That he Terran, I could have thought of that, but that's alright. Flip turn takes out Sneeze. And what's his last? Oh, it's Girder, that's right. Okay, Mystical Fire. Oof, and he picks up the double KO. That is definitely not great, considering I did Terra Dragonite. So it's Arcanteleon, always here. And, man, that Terron hat is definitely not awesome for me. And I need that Hatterene gone, honestly. So I think my best play is just to try Rock Slide and Terra Blast into it. Okay, see. Hopefully Arcanine can live a hit here. Yeah, Girder recovers a ton of HP. Um, but yeah, I think it's got to be Rock Slide, Terra Blast still, and see if I can't take Hat out. Okay. Yep. And now it is a game of can I kill with Snipe Shot? No. I live a Drain Punch. So Snipe Shot is going to pick off the Girder, I think, and that should be GG's. Nice. Well, another close one. Um, I don't know that that was necessarily my best played set. Forcing Terra on Dragonite there did put me in a not great spot against the Hat. However, Intel and kind of our general speed of our team that we now have and not allowing Trick Room to come off kind of showed its worth. So, sweet. That moves us to 4-2 on the season. Again, not a super high differential game, but we take a win when we take a win. Um, that I guess is it for me for now. My name is CoreRocket21. Thank you all for tuning in. I should be back by the weekend with our game for week 7, which is this week. So hope y'all will tune in then. Otherwise, thanks y'all for joining me, and uh, until we blast off on our next great adventure, I will see ya. Peace.